Experiential Learning Theory, but make it punchy. Thank you for joining me. My name is David. I'm a Jiu-Jitsu instructor, and today I'm going to talk about experiential learning from a Jiu-Jitsu perspective. I'm going to skip over a little bit of the history. Safe to say in the 1930s, John Dewey really advanced the theory, with Lindemann and Knowles having considerable input too. I'm going to put up some quotes from them here just to show some examples of their thoughts and how much they valued experience for learning. So that brings us to the 1980s, when Kolb really fleshed out this theory. So Kolb defined learning as the process whereby knowledge is created through the transformation of experience, and he went on to develop his learning theory cycle, which I'm going to put up here too. So you can see there are 4 stages of the cycle, and I'm going to relate those to Jiu-Jitsu from a learner's perspective. So for concrete experience, the student will watch the technique being performed. Reflexive observation, the learner will watch the technique being performed in stages, so see it broken down. Abstract conceptualization, they'll ask questions about the specifics and the areas that they're struggling with. Active experimentation, they practice for themselves, repeating and finessing the technique. And then concrete experience, they demonstrate an understanding by showing the technique. So in 2023, McLeod suggests that the experiential learning cycle can be entered into at any point as long as it's followed through to the end, and says that effective learning only occurs when a learner can execute all 4 stages of the model. So when looking at the roles of students, Kolb has categorized 4 styles: diverging, assimilating, converging, and accommodating. And as you can see from the graphic on the screen, each style is a mix of the 2 closest stages. With Jiu-Jitsu, we often find those of the diverging style are hesitant to practice techniques and need encouragement, whereas those of the accommodating style are willing to dive right in. Assimilating styles will often watch others practice to make sure that they're doing it right, and converging styles will be mirroring the instructor as they are demonstrating the movements. Instructors often need to adapt on the fly to the various learning styles as they become apparent, encouraging divergers to get involved and to give it a try, accommodators to slow down and think about things, assimilators to trust themselves and learn by making mistakes, and convergers to focus to ensure that they see the big picture. Now for a brief look at some of the cons and the pros of the experiential learning theory. One of the big cons can be previous experiences can be negative, so I'm going to show some quotes here to highlight that. But Merriam and Bierema also mentioned that power dynamic can be a challenge, and they mention experience and reflection on that experience seem to occur in a vacuum, unimpeded by power dynamics present in any social context. Now, this is supported by Chu and Jewell, who mention the power dynamic. Training sessions are carried out in the unequal sensei-student and senior-junior relationship. They do, however, go on to mention that this does not mean that students are prevented from applying a critical mind to the sensei's teaching. Rather, a student is required to adopt an open mind that is receptive to new knowledge. The student is expected to keenly observe and discover the technique for themselves. This is an aspect of the martial arts where it is held that true knowledge is experiential and not meant to be intellectualized. In 2019, Ringer said that the martial arts in general model the premise of improvement through practice. This allows for instructors to measure someone's grasp of the subject and allows for immediate feedback and correction, leaving the learner with a concrete sense of achievement at a technique successfully learnt and a suitable foundation and experience to build upon for the future. To wrap things up, I have one more quote from Chu and Jewell, who said that every training situation is different. The technique to be learnt may be the same, but many factors affect how well the technique will be performed. Moreover, repetitive practice is about letting training and practice take over from conscious striving, so that the person can act spontaneously in a crisis. And that's why I'm a fan of experiential learning and Jiu-Jitsu. Thank you. So strike, get the hand here, kick him in the face, come around. Go!